Okay, in today's class, we will try to understand in C language functions. Okay, every language has functions. It may be C, C++, Python, Java. Okay, in Java, functions are called methods. Okay, in Java, C++, in object-oriented programming languages. Okay, they are called methods. So C will not support object oriented programming. C++, Python, Java, they will support object oriented programming. So in object oriented programming, functions are called methods. Okay, that is separate topic. First of all, let us discuss what is function. Function, generally we can simply say that function, every function has some lines of code. Okay, every function has some lines of code, means that lines, every line is called an instruction, otherwise statement. So a function has some lines of instructions. That instructions are called a block of code. Means if 10 line of instructions 10 line of instructions are there, otherwise 10 statements, instruction or statement both are same. Okay, so if 10 lines are there, 10 lines of instructions are there, this is called a block of code. Means a function has a block of code, so that block of code will be executed whenever you call a function. That is the definition of a function. So try to understand one more time. Function means a block of code. Block of code means some line of instructions or statements. Every line in programming language is called a statement, otherwise function. So a block of code will be executed whenever we call a function. So why do we need function? Otherwise, what is the use of function? Try to understand. If I need to write a code again and again, same code I need to write that code again and again, that moment, rather than writing of the code repeatedly, save that code with a name. Okay, save that code means 10 lines of code, 20 lines of code, 5 lines of code, whatever. So save that line of code, block of code, with a name, and whenever you need, don't write that code again, and you call that function, that you call that name. Okay, that is called function. Okay, try to answer. So see, a function is a block of code. As I told you that a function is a block of code. Block of what do you mean a block of code? Block means some line of instruction, 10 lines, 15 lines, 25 lines, even the 2 lines, it is a block of code which only runs whenever you call it. Okay, function, that is a simple definition. So we can pass data as parameters into a function. So whenever function is declared with a name, okay, whenever function is declared with a name, now the data can be passed as parameters into that function. Let us discuss. Whenever I write the code, I will explain all the things. So functions are, two types of functions are there. Built-in functions, okay, which will come along with your programming language. Whenever you install a programming language, it may be C, C++, Python, Java, they have a library of functions. Library means the library may have a lot of functions. They are predefined built-in functions, they are called. And another type is user-defined function. User-defined, as a programmer, we can develop our functions, own functions. Okay, with our whatever the code we will write, they will be saved with a name. Okay, now that is a function. By that name you can call that code. Okay, so functions are used to perform certain actions. So every function has a specific task. See, some built-in functions in the previous classes we have discussed at the time of Python, Java, and C++. Within that, suppose C, to get result on the display, to see the print result on the display. So a predefined function means built-in function used printf. That printf is a built-in function, means the programmer already some block of code has written. He has written some block of code, and for that block of code he has kept a name printf. So whenever I want to get a printf, that moment myself as a programmer I need not to write that code for that printf function. Already he has written the code for that printf function. So just we need to call the name of that function. Here printf is the name of the function, to do a task of see the result on the output on the screen. Every function has a specific task. So here printf has a task to see to give the result on the display. So functions are important for reusing a code. So what is that? The code can be reused with no need yourself to write that code. You can reuse that code by calling of that function. And one more advantage of that function is what? Saving of time. So main advantage is function define the code, means write the code once and use that code many times. That is the main objective of a function. Define the code. Define the code means write the code and save that code with a name. Now use that code many times with a call that code with a name. Predefined functions, these are called what? Predefined functions means built-in functions. Already the programmer, like C language, who was the creator of the C language? Dennis Ritchie. Okay, Dennis Ritchie designed the C language in Dell Laboratories in 1972 to create the Unix operating system. So C is generally it is so associated with the Unix operating system. So to develop the Unix operating system, C language was designed by Dennis Ritchie. Okay, so predefined functions, they are what? Built-in functions. So predefined means already written by the programmer. Okay, if you create your function, that is called user defined function. So that you are creating as a user and you are keeping a name for that function. For example, main function is a main function is a predefined function, means built-in function. So that main function which is used to execute the total code. Okay, so total code. Printf is a function, means built-in function used to get output, to see the print text on the screen. So this main, now see, this is the main function. Generally in C language, this main function is compulsory. Within this main function, within the curly braces, whatever the code you will write, that code will be executed. So whatever the code we will write inside of this main function, they will be executed. So the main, what is the main function? Task of main function to run the code inside of the braces, curly braces. Inside of this main function, one more built-in function, printf used here. So printf function, it is a built-in function used to display the output of a string hello hello word is a string. Here hello word kept inside of double quotation marks. In C, string will be kept in double quotation marks. Okay, so here two functions used here. One is the main function, another one is the printf function. Both are inbuilt functions. So now, so whenever if we run this code, what happens? See, the code will be executed like this. The code will be, now we are studying about functions. Okay, now click on this one. See what happened. This is the code. So this is the general syntax of C language. Already I have discussed it in the previous classes. Okay, as I told you that this is the common syntax. First of all, we need to write the include any, we need to include a header file, stdio.h. it is in a header file which deals with input and output functions, output activities, and int main function. Okay, inside of this main function, whatever the code we will write, that will be read by your compiler, and then the code will be executed if there is no any error. This is the syntax, general syntax. Now come, our topic is how to create the functions. So first I have briefed you that what is function. So now I told you that there are two types of function: built-in functions and built-in means already predefined functions. User-defined functions, you create your function. Now how to create a function, how to create a user-defined function. So generally creating a function means we will call it declaring of a function. Okay, so first we need to specify the name of the function. Okay, and then that function name must be followed by parenthesis, means brackets. Okay, and then curly brackets. Within the curly brackets we need to write the code, and whenever we call the function, that code will be executed. This is the syntax. See, first of all, keep a name of your function, and that name of function must be followed by parenthesis, then flower brace. Inside of the code, whatever the code to be executed, that is to be written, and before the function name, void keyword must be used. So what is the, now let us try to understand. My function is the name of the function. My function, you change your name, you keep add any function name you keep. Generally here my function, you can change that. Okay, so that function name, and void means that void keyword used here, it indicates that this function will not return, does not have a return value. This function does not have a return value. Void means. Okay, next, inside of that function means inside of the curly braces, the whatever the line of code, line of statements we write, a block of code. So that is called inside of the function. Inside of the function means inside of the body, whatever the code we add. Okay, so that code will be used to perform any task, any work. Okay, inside of that flower braces, a block of code, whatever the instructions inside of that we will write, that will be executed. Okay, so then after, once a function is declared, means function is written, So to do a task, call the function. Call the function with its name. Okay, that is called call a function. So declared functions are not executed immediately. So whenever you write the code inside of flower braces, so that line of code immediately will not be executed until unless you will not call the function. After that you need to call the function. Okay, so once the function is declared, means written, some line of code you have written inside of the curly braces, that is to be stored with a name, that name. Okay, and then we will call the function. So let us practically we will do. To call a function, write the function's name followed by two parentheses and a semicolon. Here that is semicolon is very important. So let us see how a function will be created. See what happened. Create a function. So create a function. Two forward slashes I have used here. Two forward slashes for commenting that line of code. So that line of code will not be read by C compiler. So that will be skipped by C compiler. Void main function. It is a function name. It is a function name. Inside of braces, printf I just got executed. So now my function will be called inside of main function. Inside of main function. So let us see the code how to create. Here see, create a function, comment, void my function. You change this name, you keep your name. Okay, add, otherwise you keep your name Vasu, Rahul. Okay, I have kept a name for function. Function name is Vasu. Void keyword before function name compulsory. That void keyword indicates that this function doesn't have a return value. It will not return a value. So inside of the proper braces, the statement I have written printf. I have kept a I just got executed. This is a string kept inside of the double quotation marks. Now whenever you run this one, so but it will give error. It will not be executed. Why? Because your function name is Vasu, but inside of the main function, whenever you are calling that function, you are calling that function with the name of my function, but there is no any my function. Your declared function is Vasu, so error, you will get error calling. Why it is giving error? It is indicating that in 9th line error is there. My function, it is underlining, marking my function, call the function. Okay, so my function, it is indicating that this error is where? In main function. Okay, column 9 3 line. Okay, column 9. Okay, undefined reference to my function, collect 2. Okay, now try to understand what is the error here. Now you have declared the function with the name Vasu, but you are calling inside of main function my function. Now call this function with whatever the name you have kept the function name as Vasu, so call that function with Vasu name. Understood that? Now run this code. So now what happened? Try to see. I just got executed. This string text you have kept in printf function. Printf is a inbuilt function. Okay, printf inbuilt function. So some line of a block of code that was pre-written by the programmer Dennis Ritchie, and that block of code with a name printf. So here, as a programmer, you need not to write any special code for printf. Just you call printf function. It is the part of this function is part of your library. Library, that is, this printf function is part of your stdio.h header file. Okay, standard input output dot header file. It is part of this function. That's why we have included, means import. In Python, Java, simply we call that importing. So here including means we are importing stdio dot standard input output dot header file. Okay, so this header file, part of it is a library which deals with input output activities. So now stream. Once whenever your Vasu function is created, inside of that Vasu function only one line of statement is there. If you keep one more statement here, one more statement like printf, every time you want to get printout, you need to use predefined inbuilt printf function. So string, always in C language, string will be string means English like text, a word, sentence, paragraph. Always it is to be declared in double quotation mark. If you keep single quotation mark, it will give error. Let us see. He is intelligent. Okay. So now what happened? Now close this one. Now see. Now two statements are there, two line of instruction. Statement and instruction both are same. Two statements kept inside of Vasu function. But that Vasu function that is being called inside of main function. Okay, now run this code. So two statements to be printed on the screen. But we are getting error. Error why? Because try to understand. Here he is intelligent. It is being marked here. This text, he is intelligent, it is a text, English text means string kept in single quotation marks. But in C language, single quotation marks will not be allowed by compiler. So you are violating the syntax rules. Always so remove this one, you keep double quotation marks. Now run this code. What happened? See, still you are getting error. Error why? Okay, why it is you are getting error? Try to understand here. Two statements. Why error? Why error? In C language, every statement must be terminated with semicolon. So here it is clearly C compiler indicating that error expected semicolon before this flower brace. See, where is the flower brace? Here the flower brace. Just before that we need to keep a, what is that? Semicolon. Understood that? This is the code. So this is the error we have done here. In C language, every line of statement, every instruction must be terminated with the semicolon. Now run this code. Now your code will be executed and your result. So I just got executed. He is intelligent, but both are in single line. For there you need to use a new line character. Okay, see what happened here. I have used in first printf statement \n. That is, in previous classes I told you that this \n is a what? It is a new line character. So whenever I write, so two lines will be printed in separately. So a new line will be introduced. So second line, he is intelligent, will be printed in second line. Okay, if one more printout statement is here, one more printout statement. So here print f in bracket, in double quotation marks. Okay, how are you? Okay, how are you? Question mark, and it is to be terminated with semicolon, double quotation marks. Close this and then terminate with the semicolon. Now what happened? Then after flower brace, that is very important, because your function is started with open brace, that is to be closed with close brace. Now see what happened here. Whenever you run this code, that what happened, first two lines are, I just got executed one line, he is intelligent, how are you, both are second line, third line are in same single line. So if you want to give a new line, that moment same / n you need to keep end of this one / already we have studied a /n, but that /n must be inside of the your quotes. That is very important. A /n that is to be kept at the end of the line, but inside of the quotation marks. Now run this code. Now you will get three lines separately. So what happened here? Let us try to understand. Now one function value is created. Okay, generally whatever the name you want to keep for your function, and before that void keyword, compulsory void keyword used to it clearly says that this function will not return, it doesn't have a return value, it will not return anything. So inside of braces, whatever the statements you write, now three printf statements I have kept. These three printout statements can be called as a block of code. So a block of code may have 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, 100 lines. That block of code, even the one line of one statement is there. A block of code will be executed. So see how many times you call. Here one time I have called this function. So call it one more time. If you want to call it one more time and terminate with a semicolon. Now whenever you run this code, you will get 6 statements. It means Vasu function called 2 times. 6. How many times? 6 times. Okay, so if you want to call this function one more time, you need to call it one more time. And understood that? Now try to, if you run this code, this function is called how many times? This function is called 3 times. Okay, now so what happened here? Try to understand. A function is created, name my function, that is the name of a function. You can keep your name, a suitable function name, that is very compulsory. Before that, void keyword, compulsory void keyword used to indicate that this function doesn't have a return value. inside of the flower braces, whatever the line of code, that is called a block of code. Maybe 5 lines, 10 lines, even though one statement is there, that is called a block of code. Okay, that code will be executed whenever you call that function name inside of the main function. So you can call that function many times as per your wish. Here that function is called 3 times. Whenever you call that function, no need to write that code again and again, just call the name of that function. Now this I just got executed will be printed here 3 times. If you call that function one more time, what is the function name? My function. Okay, understood that. Function that is to be called with bracket, that is what, parenthesis, then after semicolon. It is very compulsory. One more time I have called my function 4 times. Now the statement, that string will be printed 4 times. But why you are getting error? My function, why we are getting error? Because your function name is capital. My function is capital, but you have used here small letters. That is the error. Now run this code. This is what, understood that. So inside of the function, whatever the statements you write, they will be executed. Suppose if you keep one variable declared, that is integer type, you have stored a value inside of this. Now int x is equal to 5. Now and one more integer you have declared, y is equal to 6. Okay, 2 integers you have declared. Now you want to printf. Okay, inside of this x plus y. Okay, terminate this one with a semicolon. Okay, let us try to understand what happened here, whether this will be executed. Okay, int declare a variable int x is equal to 5, terminate with semicolon. Now one more variable int y is equal to 6. Okay, terminate with semicolon. Now take the printout, printf in bracket x plus y, add the values of x plus y variables, terminate with semicolon, and close this with close brace. Understood that? So these statements kept under my function. So we are calling the my function how many times? 3 times. Now this code will be executed. So if it is not executed, let us see what happened. One function we have created, what is happened with that function? Now try to see what happened here. Now what happened under this main function, every time what happened, whenever I try to call the main function, 3 times I have called. So after I just got executed 11, result is printed, then the statement again executed, I just got executed, then 11 printed. So 3 times I have called that function. 3 times I have called that function. So if you want to get the new line character here, after this so now see what happened here. Now we are getting the result as I just got executed 11, next string, next printf, that is x plus y 11, next printf I just got executed x plus y sum 11. So for this 3 times you have called the function, my function. Your function, you have created my function. You change this as your wish, it doesn't mean, okay. So if you change this, you need to change it. You need to call, suppose you are calling this as function, you are declaring this as function, so you need to call this as function, okay. This is like this. Whatever the name you have kept for the function, accordingly you need to call them, okay. Now run this code, because now I have changed the function name as function. So 3 times I have called. Under the function, how many lines of code state instructions have been written? Printf I just got executed first line, int x is equal to 5 second line, int y is equal to 6 third line, printf fourth line. 4 statements I have written, means 4 instructions. These 4 instructions are called a block of code. So now that block of code called with a name, and now that name is called a function. If you are confusing function again function, you change to any name, no issue. You change simply fun, okay. You can keep any fun. So here you need to call that function name as you have declared. As you have declared, okay. I have declared means I have written the function. Declared means write. You have written the function name as fun, okay. So accordingly you need to call that function fun, okay. Now come down here. Now execute the code. Your code will be run for 3 times. First time, whenever the function called, the 4 lines of statement block of code will be executed and result will be given. Here in this function 2 printf statements are there. For the first printf, one string will be printed. For the second printf, sum of x plus y will be printed. So whenever you want to get new line, for every line space you want to get, so I told you that \n. In every printf statement, keep \n inside of the quotes, okay. I told you that in this printf function, for percentage, that is the format specifier. I told you in the previous classes, format specifier, it will help the compiler, C compiler. Now it is dealing with C compiler to deal with which type of data. If it is C compiler, it needs to deal with integer, because your values are int xy both are variables declared as integer, so the result will be integer. So we need to help the compiler. Now you need to deal with which type of data type. So percentage d means integer, okay. If you keep percentage f means float value, okay, like this. Understood? Now this is called a function. Your function has created. So once function is created, you can call that function as per your wish. How many times you want to keep, how many times you want to call that function.